Hey, Elf. You're all right.
Am I?
I was thinking... that you're just all right.
Drunk again, Ogren?
Drunk again, Ogren? You sound like my father. He was all, "You're drunk. Stop wetting on the table."
How dare he?
At least my mom had the good sense to hide the booze from him, so, she could drink where he couldn't see her.
That's heartwarming.
Hey, buddy, let's not go crazy or anything. Keep your pants where I can see them.
So I take it you did not enjoy your Templar training?
That's directed at me, I take it.
Do you see any others about who have failed at their religious instruction?
I didn't fail, I was recruited into the Grey Wardens.
And if you had not been recruited, what would have happened instead?
I would have turned into a drooling lunatic, slaughtered the Grand Cleric, and run through the streets of Denham in my small clothes, I guess.
Your self-awareness does you credit.
I thought you'd like that.
I've heard stories about the Kunari, you know.
Oh?
They conquered nearly all of the north, Tevinter, Rivain, and Tiva. Much of the land was laid waste. In the northern kingdoms, they say the Kunari are implacable, relentless, more like a landslide than an invasion. It took 3 exalted marches to drive them back to the sea.
We'll do better next time.
Elf,
Ogren!
I have something to say to you.
I am all ears, as we elves like to say.
Well, now I forgot.
Alas.
But just know I had something.
You've had several somethings, I suspect. It's part of your charm.
You must be vastly relieved, Wynne.
Relieved? I do not understand what you mean.
Most your age would spend much of their time preoccupied wondering when they might perish. Yet you already know.
Eavesdropping is not considered very polite, dear.
A fortunate thing, then, that I do not consider myself bound by such rules.
In response to your question, I know only that I died once. I do not know how much time I have left, only that it is very little.
That is not so very different than before, surely. You are an old woman.
One who keenly appreciates that our time in this world should be spent doing what is important.
I have always lived by such a philosophy.
How reassuring.
You know, Alistair, Antiva has a long tradition of royal bastards.
You don't say.
Oh yes, they've led wars to claim the throne. Some of them have become kings. In fact, I'd say the current royal line in Antiva stems from bastard blood several times over.
Well, aren't you just chock full of useless trivia today?
Sadly, whenever a royal bastard rears their head in public and declares themselves, it often goes poorly for them.
Let me guess. They get assassinated.
Only the very popular ones.
And the unpopular ones?
Well, they get by somehow, I'm sure. There was one fellow who did quite well working as a prostitute based on his uncanny resemblance to the king. Charged a fortune.
Couldn't afford him, I take it.
That cynicism will serve you well, my friend. Hold on to it.
It must have been very difficult for you and your mother, Morrigan, to live always hiding from the Chantry and its hunters.
Your pitying tone is as unwelcome as it is unnecessary, old woman. There was nothing difficult about our lives in the slightest.
But surely you must have drawn notice from time to time. No matter how powerful you claim to be, you would not wish the full attention of the Chantry.
Hunters did come into the wilds from time to time. They did not leave.
And the interest of the Chantry was never aroused. I find that difficult to believe.
I imagine you find many things difficult to believe. Your own preference for the leash you wear, for instance.
There are good reasons for the world to fear mages, even despite our best intentions.
Your best intentions, perhaps. Their fear concerns me not at all.
So, I imagine it has been some time for you, Liliana.
Some time for me? I do not know what you mean.
Some time since you last knocked boots, shall we say? You did just come from the cloistered life, no?
Of course it has been some time. There are more important things in life than knocking boots, Zevran.
Oh, I'll not argue that. I simply mean that the body has urges. Urges given to us by the Maker. Yours must be considerable after all that time.
That is a very personal question.
I mean no offense. I simply offer my services should you ever feel the need for release.
Let me think about it then. Should every man in Ferelden suddenly die, you may even have your chance.
Haha, progress.
You ate my entire bag of herbs, you foolish dog. Do not think I am unaware of where it went. It is your own fault for being so entirely gluttonous. Several of those herbs were poisonous. You should be pleased they did not kill you. Do not be ridiculous. I am certainly not going to give you more, even if I did have more to give. Oh, you have some nerve, creature. And your breath leaves much to be desired. Off you go. We shall see. I promise nothing.
You could show me a little appreciation, you know.
Appreciation? For what?
I saved your ass a while back. When that thing was... You don't even remember.
Oh, I'm sorry,
No, that's fine. Next time I'll just let it get you, that's all.
All right, I've come up with one. A question that you can't answer.
Are you talking to me?
That's right. You think you're so smart. I've got an academic question that I bet you won't be able to answer.
Oh, I doubt that.
So tell me then, what was the name of Andraste's husband?
This is a religious question, not an academic one.
You're joking, right? A 5-year-old could answer that question. Do you not know more than a child?
I care nothing for your religion, and this game of yours is over.
Oh, how the mighty have crumbled.
I have a question of religion, Kunari.
For you, Kadan, I will answer.
Would its Khun accept a convert that was a golem?
I do not know. It has never happened. We accept beings of all walks of life, so long as they are willing to accept their place in the world.
And what place is that?
One of equality. Within the Qun, an individual exists to serve.
That is less appealing. Would it consider birds to be its equal as well?
Birds? Birds are but animals. Enlightenment does not await them.
Excellent. That sounds very promising.
Let me ask you this then, Morrigan. What if there really was a Maker?
Then I would wonder why he has abandoned his creation. It seems terribly irresponsible of him.
He left us because we were determined to make our own way, even if we hurt ourselves. And he could not bear to watch.
But how do you know? You cannot ask him this. Perhaps he has gone to a new creation elsewhere and abandoned this as a dismal failure best forgotten.
I do not need to know, because I have faith. I believe in him and feel his hope and his love.
Faith. How quickly those who have no answers invoke that word.
How can someone who practices magic have so little capacity to believe in that which he cannot see?
Magic is real. I can touch it and command it, and I need no faith for it to fill me up inside. If you were looking for your higher power, there it is.
But only if you can control it. I do not envy the loneliness you must feel at times, Morrigan.
Leave me be. Loneliness would be preferred to this endless chatter.
You have not asked me about my conscience for some time, my darling Wynne.
That is correct. And I am not your darling.
So once again I am rejected, just as I am by the cruel, cruel fates. They are harsh mistresses to the elves.
Zevran, I am old enough to be your grandmother.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
And what would you do with me if you had me, This is a game you play, nothing more.
Ha, you are a cynical woman, Wynne. Cynical and powerful. It drives me mad with desire.
So I see you are quite the little deceiver after all.
Finally decided to gloat, have you?
It simply suits my view of the Chantry that one of their devoted sisters should turn out to be so full of hypocrisy.
There are good people in the Chantry. Many good people who are just there to help others.
And apparently at least a few who are simply pretending to be good.
At least I was trying to be better than I was. At least I regretted the evil I'd done. Better that than be someone who's never loved anyone or anything, least of all herself. Anything but that.
It seems at least you got the self-righteousness down pat. Well done.
There is an intelligence behind those canine eyes of yours, dog. It occurs to me that the dog was forged in a way not unlike I was. Someone sought to create a useful tool, and they employed magic to create the dog. The only difference is that I apparently volunteered to become what I am. The dog has heard the tale, no? Good. I wonder, however, if the dog would have decided differently had it had a choice. Would it have remained a stupid and ineffective hound, but a happy one? I, too, struggle with this question. I wish I could remember the dwarf that I once was. I suppose the dog and I are not so different after all. Just keep your urine to yourself.
There is one thing I do not understand, Alistair.
Just the one thing.
About you, perhaps. Why the deception over your parentage?
I'd figure you'd be the sort who knows all about deception.
I do. And what use the deception might have had ended when King Cailan perished, did it not?
Maybe. I guess I was sort of hoping that would go away.
The truth does not go away.
I didn't say it was a good plan.
Seems like every other woman in this band is tossing herself at the boss feet first. It's like a sodding noble's birthday party around here.
Oh no, the Grey Warden is a little young for me. Both of them are.
Need someone with a little more experience, I guess. Right?
I suppose.
Well, you know where to find me.
I do not understand why you hate birds so much.
It is because I had to endure their chirping, their perching, and most especially their constant
No, I understand that part, but they were just being what they are.
Exactly. Disgusting vermin with wings. Darkspawn must be exterminated for being what they are as well.
But a bird is a creature of grace and beauty. They open their mouths and they sing.
The bard hears music. I hear a wail of banshees that boils my blood.
But what about a nightingale? Or a swan?
They are not pigeons, it is true. Still, evil beasts of the sky.
I give up.
So, you know that I'm a Templar, right?
I believe what I heard was that you were not, in fact, a Templar. You were trained as one before you became a Grey Warden.
That's right, but I still have all the abilities of one, of course. That doesn't make you nervous.
Should it? I am no apostate. Perhaps you should be directing this question at Morrigan.
She claims not to be afraid of me, or anything, really. But you've had more experience with the Templars than her. I know how mages can sometimes...
The Templars serve a function, and a necessary one. If what has happened at the tower proves anything, it is that we mages can be dangerous, even to ourselves.
That's one way of looking at it.
And regardless, you seem like a decent enough young man. If you decide to slaughter me out of hand, I'm sure you would at least inform me first, no?
Oh, sure. Count on it.
These crows of yours, Zevran, are they as extraordinary as you claim?
They all but rule over my homeland. Do you find that extraordinary?
If true, are they so powerful simply because they are very good at what they do? Or is there some secret to their power?
If there were a secret, it would only remain so if it were not told, my dear.
You are no longer bound to such a code? Or do you believe their wrath will be greater than it already is, should you speak out of turn?
It may be that I simply do not wish to tell you. You get the most delightful wrinkle in your brow when you are curious.
I see. You are impossibly frustrating, you know this.
I do. It is part of my charm, or so I'm told.
Aren't you chilly, Sten?
Chilly. I don't know this word.
It's much warmer where you're from, isn't it? Don't you feel cold? I don't imagine we can find a cloak in your size, can we?
What?
Nothing, nothing. Don't mind me. Now I wonder where I could get a skein of good wool yarn.
I've thought about your predicament, my friend.
It has thought of a way to lure birds out of the sky.
I mean, your situation. Being made of stone and such, I imagine it must be terrible for you to see others together, you know?
Together, as in standing next to one another.
I speak of love, my sturdy friend, and the act of love. Surely this must bring you discomfort, knowing you can never partake in such pleasures.
That is disgusting. It was bad enough that I had to suffer the occasional pair of villagers lying in my shade, but the idea of partaking...
You are stoic, my friend, and brave. You do us a great honor by suffering in silence.
I was not suffering, silently or otherwise, until now.
I understand.
Why do you keep looking at me like that, mage?
I beg your pardon. I didn't mean to stare. I've never seen a Kunari before.
You can blink once in a while, I'll still be here.
So, that game you were playing in camp, what was that?
Diamondback. You never played Diamondback, have you?
That's Diamondback? I've heard of it. I thought it was a card game played by Dwarven...
Go on, say it. Prostitutes. It's not true, of course.
It's not?
Of course not. A noble hunter never charges money. Not if she wants to see him again, that is. Never saw one turn down a gift, though.
What does that have to do with card games?
Even a noble hunter can get bored. Tell you what, don't ever bet your clothes. They'll strip you clean and leave you naked in the street. Trust me.
I'll take your word on it.
Do you know of the Cassandra, the sundew in the common tongue?
I do not believe so.
No. You are so alike, I thought you kindred.
What is that supposed to mean? What is the sundew?
A flower.
Oh? I am a flower, am I? How unexpected.
That entraps and devours insects.
Ah, now that I expected.
I just don't understand you elves. Not one bit.
Oh? Where is your comprehension lacking, my friend?
These humans, they turn you all into slaves. What do they do now? They destroy your homeland. Twice.
What is your point, dwarf?
Well, I just don't understand. Why don't you just kill them all?
There are a great many more humans than elves, if you haven't noticed.
So? There's 100 humans for every dwarf, too, but you don't see us bending over and getting our pipes clean, do you?
That's big talk for a man who lives in a tunnel.
All I know is the dwarves would never stand for it. You'd think you elves would have learned to duck.
That must be it. Exactly.
You are not religious, yes? You do not believe?
I do, to some extent. It does not govern my life, however. Why do you ask?
Oh, nothing. You are just a very good person, and it shows. And I thought at first you were religious like some of the revered mothers. But no. I thought about it and I realized that you're not.
I do what I do because I enjoy it. Because I enjoy teaching others, helping them. I do not seek recognition for my works. I do not seek the approval of my peers, nor the approval of a distant god.
That is admirable, doing good for its own sake. Some I knew were not like that. They bragged about what they did, trying to impress others. Oh, Lady Adele, you fed and clothed 20 orphans. How noble. No, it's nothing, Lady Clarabelle. You treated 40 lepers and gave them massages. Like a competition with false modesty. Sickening.
Did Lady Clarabelle really give 40 lepers massages?
Who knows? Lady Clarabelle had strange tastes. I wouldn't be surprised if she did that and more.
I think I have a joke for you, my fine dwarven friend.
Just don't expect me to laugh.
So, a human, an elf, and a dwarf are walking down a trail beside a stream, and they stop to take a piss.
All right, things are looking up. Continue.
After, the human takes out some soap and begins washing his hands. We humans have learned how to be clean and hygienic, he says to the others. The elf begins picking some leaves off the trees and wipes his hands with them. We elves do as tradition has taught us and use what nature has provided. The dwarf, meanwhile, has pulled up his trousers and is already on his way down the trail. And our ancestors, he calls back, taught us dwarves not to piss on our hands.
Shows what you know about dwarves.
I have heard an interesting tale of the Kunari.
Speak, Kadan.
I am told that the Kunari put mages on leashes. Leashes? What a delightful concept.
It is not something that one should take pleasure in. It is done because it is necessary.
Why not put them out of their misery? Crush their skulls and be done with it. Fast, efficient, fun.
You have been offended by such men, so your bloodlust can be forgiven. But these ones you speak of are to be pitied. Even so, they must serve, just as any other must serve. All must find their place within the Kyun.
Does sound like a delightful place where it comes from. Mages on leashes. What will they think of next?
I cannot say that they would not wish to put a leash on you as well, Kadan.
That does sound less fun. Yes.
Lay your hand on me once more, dwarf, and the moment shall be your last.
Don't take it personally. I stepped on a rock. You don't want me to fall and break my neck, do you?
The prospect would not trouble me overmuch.
You sound just like Bronca.
Then I commend her good sense. But this is the last time I will tell you. Touch me no more.
Bronca said that too.
Ow!
What? Stop fussing with it. You'll make it worse.
It itches.
Yes, it's healing. Don't touch it.
But it's distracting. Can I rub it through the bandage? That's not really scratching.
Alistair, if you open that wound up, I'm not going to heal it again. You can just treat it yourself. And if it festers, weeping bloody pus, and burns like the flames of Andraste's pyre, don't come to me. All I'm going to say is, Alistair, didn't I tell you not to touch it?
It won't really fester, will it?
Why don't you try scratching and see?
I guess it doesn't itch so much now.
So what is it exactly that the Sisters of the Chantry do for amusement?
Do they not have sisters in Antiva, Severin?
Naturally. Yet we are hesitant to speak to the sisters back home. They are Atia Negrano. How do you say it? Pure, not to be spoiled.
And you would spoil them just by speaking to them?
You really have no idea, do you?
I wasn't born in the Chantry, Severin. Sisters, we had many ways to pass the time. Work, for instance, and prayer.
No time for leisure at all?
I was not there for idle pursuits and pleasures, Severin. I was there to contemplate my relationship to the Maker.
And that's it? Sounds bloody boring.
What did you imagine your Antivan sisters did exactly?
Well, in Antiva, the Chantries make much of the wine, so I assume they drank it?
I doubt that very much.
And there goes one childhood dream. To think I once longed to be a brother.
So, tell me, you have any children, grandchildren, I don't know, great-grandchildren?
What would make you think I have any children at all? You have to know I've spent most of my life in the circle of magi.
You just seem like the grandmotherly type to me, I don't know.
I suppose I'll take that as a comment on my demeanor and not my age.
Mages aren't forbidden to marry or anything, are they? It's not such an outlandish question.
Isn't it? What sort of man would marry a mage, do you think?
Well, how about another mage? There are just as many men as there are women within the circle, as I recall.
That sort of union is not encouraged. Although that does not stop us from seeking out each other's company from time to time.
All right. Suddenly you don't seem quite so grandmotherly to me anymore.
Good. I would hope not.
We have many things in common, Zevran.
Other than our purity and beauty.
We both spent many years in places other than Ferelden. You are an assassin, and I a bard.
Then you were called upon to kill.
Often. I didn't like it, but I did it anyway.
You didn't like it? You didn't like the thrill of the hunt?
I suppose. I did like that. The hunt. Not the killing.
The killing just signals the end of the hunt. Without it, the chase goes on. You killed your marks cleanly, I hope.
Whenever possible.
Good. When the prey is caught, it deserves a good death. A clean death. Perhaps you are right. We have much in common.
The Kunari mentioned something of equality when we last spoke.
I said that all were equal under the Qun, yes.
What of humans? Surely they would not be as equal as others?
All who accept the Qun have their place as any other. In the lands we occupy, even the elves have come to embrace this concept.
And if this place is at the bottom?
If that is where one belongs, then that is where one should be.
The Kunari are a very practical people, Sten.
It is as I have always said, but I thank you.
Zevran, I saw you looking at that girl in town earlier. What did you think of her?
My dear Liliana, which girl? I saw many, and I watched them all.
You know, the one with the shoes.
The shoes? Yes, good reference.
Well, she also had blonde curls, worn in a long braid.
A braid? Oh, that one. Yes, I remember her.
So what did you think? You seemed quite enthralled.
Well, she was quite marvelous. Except for the butterface.
The butter what?
Butterface. Everything's marvelous, but her face.
You're a bad man.
If you just stood still for a minute. You like Ogren, don't you? Ogren's your friend. That's right, we understand each other. Now, stand still, you stupid mutt. Oh, come on! You're so melodramatic. Haven't even put the saddle on yet.
Are there Kunari bards?
Why wouldn't there be?
I don't know. You don't seem like very musical people to me.
You base this on me? I am a soldier. The Antam does not do battle with lutes.
Have you ever thought of getting yourself a husband, Morrigan? It might do you some good, you know.
Tie myself to another with bonds of servitude. It serves no purpose.
Aw, don't you want little Morrigans running around someday? The pitter-pat of little witchy feet.
You say that as if one is necessary for the other to follow. My mother needed no husband to have her daughters.
But you're no ugly old forest witch. I'm sure you can land yourself a proper husband if you just show a bit more skin.
Is that how you landed your own wife? No wonder she turned to her own sex for comfort.
Now that's just mean.
The sister has interesting footwear.
Oh. You like shoes, do you?
My mass is considerable. Some cushioning on my feet would be ideal, but I doubt such footwear could be made.
I could see some nice thick sandals being made, with very thick leather straps. Oh yes, that could be done. Perhaps we could find some cobbler who could give it a try. What color would you want?
Surely the color is unimportant.
In fact, the color is very important. That, and picking a shape that makes your ankles look slender. And you could use some help there, I fear.
I have thick ankles.
It's all right. I don't like my thighs. What's important is working with what you have.
Very well. I wish my shoes to be red.
Oh, bold choice. We'll have to remember that.
So, are you a very religious man, Alistair? I'm curious. I believe I heard you say you were raised in an abbey.
I was raised in a castle. I was schooled in the abbey. As far as being religious, I don't know. Not especially. What about you? Not in your line of work, I expect.
Why do you say that? I happen to be quite devoted in my way, as most Antivans are.
Truly? But you kill people. For money.
And I ask forgiveness for my sins from the Maker every chance I get. What manner of monster do you think I am?
But you ask forgiveness and then you go right on with your sinning.
The Maker has never objected. Why should you?
I have no idea.
Well, there you go. Perhaps you ought to think about asking for a little forgiveness yourself, huh?
You are a disgusting creature, dwarf. Did you believe I would not see you? Oh, that scarf was my own.
Ah, I had to blow my nose. Blasted surface air tickles the nostrils.
You had no right to take what was not yours.
Don't be such a squealing nug. You can use my handkerchief anytime.
If you have a handkerchief, then why not use it?
Yeah, too dirty. Yours was cleaner.
Oh, this is intolerable. Don't force me to test that dwarven resistance of yours, fool.
Promises, promises.
I noticed some dog drool in my pack this morning. Not that I like to make accusations, and I even appreciate the artistry behind a good burgle when I see it, to tell the truth. But leaving all that drool as evidence? Sloppy. I'll take that as an apology. I'm so glad you're pleased. It really is quite something to find such enthusiasm in one's companions. I agree. Go team. Hurrah!
Is something the matter? Are you thinking about Branka?
Branka.
You loved her, didn't you? I've seen you some nights, staring off into the distance with such sadness in your eyes. You wonder if you did something that drove her away. You wonder if she would have stayed if you had done things differently. She must have loved you. Somewhere inside.
That sodding great dew-licker had a heart clad in iron. She had only one love. The anvil. Later, the anvil only sighed because I was gassy and finally let off a good one. Should be hitting you right about now. Silent killer, huh?
So tell me, Shale, if you had the opportunity to become flesh, would you take it?
It does seem rather preoccupied with this topic.
Humor me. Would you choose to live, to breathe the air and taste the flesh? Or would you remain the immortal stone that you are?
Would I also get to age and bleed and become sick and die?
Of course. These are the things we accept for the blessing of being what we are.
Then no thank you. I have no need of such frailties.
You were once a dwarven woman, with dreams and passions and all the rest. Does that hold no sway for you?
Why would I wish to be that woman again? She gave up her body willingly.
And what of family, of children? Life does not begin and end with yourself.
I have no desire to produce offspring.
Your form is wondrous, that's true. But while you do not suffer the lows of life, you also do not experience the highs. It is something to consider.
It is nothing to consider. What it speaks of is impossible.
Do you really know what's going on here? The Blight, the Civil War? I really wonder how much of it you understand. We're all special, big parts to play. Even you, especially you in some ways. You are the Mabari. You guard one of the most important people... What? You want to play? But I'm talking. Why doesn't anyone want to hear me talk?
Alright, I guess you aren't all that bad.
You just decided that, did you?
Well, I've watched you fight. You could be worse, I guess.
From you, that's practically a proposal of marriage.
Don't get excited or nothing. You're not what I'm looking for in a wife.
Considering what happened to your last wife, I'll count myself as fortunate.
Have a care where your eyes linger, Alistair.
Yes, well, don't worry. It's not what you think.
I see.
I was looking at your nose.
And what is it about my nose that captivates you so?
I was just thinking that it looks exactly like your mother's.
I hate you so much.
What?
Never mind.
Yeah, right. Okay, I've got a better idea now. I know you don't like me on your back, but how about a chariot of some kind, huh? Spiked wheels, the crest of my house emblazoned in the front. It would look mighty impressive. I could just see it. And you, my great sodding mutt steed, shall charge headlong into the fray, while I stand in my chariot, chopping to the left and to the right. We would fell thousands. Ah, you have no vision. One day, you'll see. I'll have my team of Grand Mabari charioteers. You sodding dog. You'll be sorry you didn't get in on the action when you could have.
You do not truly think I look as my mother does, do you?
Have you really been thinking about that all this time?
I am simply curious.
And not insecure in the slightest, I'm sure.
I think I look nothing like her.
I don't know. Give it a few hundred years and it'll be a spot-on match.
I said that I look nothing like her.
All right, got it. Totally different. I see that now.
So, I was thinking...
Listen, dwarf. I am not interested in your innuendos, your propositions, or your bodily emanations.
But I
Quiet.
just wanted...
No. Keep it to yourself. I'm serious.
Fine.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, whatever.
Another? I just gave you one, fool dog. Perhaps you should go and hunt something then. For a warrior beast, you are remarkably over-dependent. Oh, very well. But tell no one.
You have not asked me about my conscience for some time, my darling Wynn.
That is correct. And I am not your darling.
So once again I am rejected. Just as I am by the cruel, cruel fates. They are harsh mistresses to the elves.
Zevran, I am old enough to be your grandmother.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
And what would you do with me if you had me, This is a game you play, nothing more.
You are a cynical woman, Wynn. Cynical and powerful. It drives me mad with desire.
I am going to walk away now.
So I have a question for you, Zevran. You're here, at least in part, to get away from the crows, right?
That is indeed true.
So when this is over, what do you intend to do with yourself? You can't go back to Antiva, I assume.
What I do depends in large part upon your fellow Grey Warden. I am not a free man, as it were.
Yes, but what if you could do whatever you wanted?
I don't know. Aren't you going to be king? Perhaps you have people you need killed.
Is there some reason I shouldn't just kill them myself?
See, it's that sort of talk that is bad for business. Have you no thought to supporting the employment of your subjects?
Not for assassins, I don't.
That's the lovely thing about kings. They make for good business as the client or the target.
And people wonder why someone might not want to be king.
Okay folks, so that is essentially all of the party banter that I was able to get out of the game. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope that you were entertained. And yeah, when we get to our next video, I am going to begin the series of events that will ultimately allow us to beat this game. So until then folks, love yourselves and love each other.